and ready for action with the NACE Starleague, League of Legends. We are here with, again, myself, Daniil Bettersamiki Brown, and Josh Fundy. Pafundi, and we're ready to get right into the draft with St. Clair College versus Old Dominion University. Game 1.
Yeah, getting into game 1 here. Week 3, I believe, here in the NACE Starleague. I mean, yeah, makes sense. Both these teams got 2 under their belt. This is interesting, a Caitlyn ban to come through for the Saints. It's one that we've seen a lot of teams ban against the Saints previously. I know you've been seeing that a lot, Daniil, there. But then again, Rockboom, we have seen him play Caitlyn. Not one of the champs that he necessarily gravitates towards every time. He's kind of just playing Caitlyn when Caitlyn was super broken, if we're being honest here. So them taking it off the board definitely could be a good target ban. Caitlyn controls a lot of the bot lane.
I think this might be the first Irelia ban we've seen. I'm not too sure. I sound like a whole professional now.
Yeah, I know.
Before I was like, I'm not sure what's going on. But now I'm giving you the analysis that you used to give me. But I think this is the first Irelia ban we might have seen against the Saints at the very least. Not going to be talking about the entire league. But the Sejuani ban coming out, again, usually one of those bans that other teams will do against us, but now we're doing against them. It might just not be a very favorable game for them. I'm not quite sure if Saints get first pick or if they're going to get a retaliatory pick. They might just not want to give it up, or maybe they don't feel like playing it and they don't want the enemy team to get it. So
yeah, we have seen, I mean, we've seen both Alonso and Maddie, both of the junglers we've seen for this squad, both this and last semester, they've picked the Sejuani in a lot of cases, and it's really good for that team fight. Obviously, you have that amazing ultimate that just locks down anyone in that team fight, right? But answered with that Aurelion Sol ban from Old Dominion. Aurelion Sol, we've talked enough about Aurelion Sol recently.
I don't even want to think about this.
I mean, the way he's been changed, very, very strong champion, works so perfectly with Rod of Ages and a lot of the other new item changes that came through at the same time, and he kind of just took over for a bit, if we're being honest, still kind of taking over in that sense.
When it's a little surprising, but when you give a champion the ability to do a massive, giant, damaging stun across the entire screen,
AoE
they become
stun,
pretty good. I know that might not have been used.
A super long laser beam that you just get to perma Kamehameha somebody.
It's not really intuitive. I thought that would make him worse. Well, I think now he's actually pretty good. So they're gonna ban out Maokai. Actually, Saints are going to ban out Varus in response, and then Old Dominion is going to ban out Maokai. Maokai has always been one of the stronger picks. Even back in my day when I was playing this game regularly, Maokai has always just been a solid
I mean,
structure.
You click the R button, you stun somebody, or you root somebody, you've got healing on top of that, you've got, your saplings you can toss into the bush. That just helps, it gives you a little bit of map control, it gives you a slow as well. I believe they give a tiny bit of vision. Kind of like
vision.
I think it's more so something like a Jin Trap where it's that little tiny space around it, but it's not like a ward.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
But nonetheless, the Varus ban from the Saints is pretty interesting as well. Varus has been more of a support pick recently, thanks to T1. Yeah. Thanks to T1 over in Korea. But nonetheless, Varus been more of a support pick. You basically build, I believe it's Umbral Glaive. They build out the Umbral Glaive, and Umbral Glaive, it's a very cheap item. It gives you so we've got picks coming through, but it's a very cheap item.
I'm gonna cut you off.
Gives you a lot of great stats, and Varus being taken off the board, it's comforting to see for the Saints. You don't have to deal with some crazy poke lane like Caitlyn Varus. But let's get through these picks. Gragas' first pick from the Saints there. That can be most likely a top pick here. I mean, we have seen Gragas jungle, but Gragas has been more so a top laner recently, and we've seen Ricky on the Gragas as well. I would
say, I think in all the last games, if he wasn't playing Olaf, he was playing Gragas.
Exactly.
So it's not a surprise at all. But the Jarvan and Pantheon pick, I remember one of my earlier casts, it was a whole tizzy. You guys are telling us. You're telling me that you're not really going to see Jarvan. Jarvan's not much of a champion. And then enemy team picked Jarvan, and he's making a triumphant return alongside Pantheon. Saints picking out Thresh, one of my personal favorites. And then we have the Ezreal, and I believe that's Aphelios?
Yes, Aphelios there.
How do I do it? I'm just magical like that. I can remember things. Crazy, right?
I mean, he's a pretty unique champion, I'd say, to say the least. I mean, edgy looking guy, but he's there. Aphelios Thresh. I know, Aphelios is usually to play more so with enchanters, if I'm not mistaken. I know Aphelios Lulu is a very strong bot lane there, but at the same time, you throw Thresh with any solid ADC, and you're gonna have a good time as long as that Thresh is hitting hooks, as long as he's placing his boxes correctly and stuff like that. I'm more so looking at the first 2 picks from Old Dominion here because they've got Pantheon Jarvan, which is like crazy dive, crazy just blow up one person halfway across the map, right? You can have a Jarvan gank come in, you get that R down, and then you have Pantheon R as well.
And then with the Ezreal, it's almost like we have 3 champions with global presence. Because, well, not Jarvan, I don't think he has global presence.
Not global presence, but he's going to be ganking.
He's going to be the one initiating things.
Exactly.
So it's more or less he's going to be always there, and then Ezreal and Pantheon can initiate from more or less anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So really aggressive lineup coming out from Old Dominion with the Amumu follow-up. Again, if you're hitting your hooks, in this case with Amumu, things are going to go pretty well for you in terms of these ganks. Again, with your... Actually, I'm not sure where the Jarvan's probably going to be top. Or
Jarvan will most likely be in the jungle there, I'm assuming. So and then it's Amumu's support, most likely.
Really?
Yeah, Amumu...
Things have changed.
Amumu pretty well as support now. He's got 2 of his bandages that he can toss, 2 of the stuns so that he can do, and they're on like a separate cooldown. But we can also catch up with the bans a little bit. Mostly just mid lane bans to come through here. There was as well a support ban, but it's the Karma ban, and Amumu's going to be the pick. Anyway, Amumu Ezreal, with the amount of damage Ezreal can pump out in this current patch with say the Essence Reaver Navori Quickblades build, I'm really liking the Amumu pick. You lock somebody down, Ezreal basically gets to hit all of his skill shots for free, get a nice little free combo going.
While Amumu's crying on them, you know.
Yeah, while Amumu's just crying on top of them, stunning them, and then stunning them again. Because you have 2, right? So you can stun, R, wait for the R, and then stun again with your second bandage.
That sounds very fun and interactive. I would love to be on the receiving end.
It's not. It won't be very fun and interactive if you're if you're the Saints bot lane this game. However, it's going to be pretty fun and interactive for Old Dominion. Talia being picked up in that mid lane, that's going to be a pretty solid pick as of right now. Talia's been pretty strong, and I think just with a lot of the changes she's received recently, you get to control the lane pretty comfortably. Obviously, there was like kind of, I guess, the mini rework they did to her a while back, where it changed her worked ground so that instead of kind of being a disadvantage where you get to use less rocks, it's like one big powerful rock that's almost better than the regular toss. Yeah, they turned her one.
I like Talia a lot.
They turned her one disadvantage into more of an advantage for her kit, and it's made her play a lot smoother. And I think it's just kind of made it's made her more fun to play because realistically, she has an ultimate, but it's not like. It's not a big fight-changing ultimate. I mean, it's just a wall. It's just a wall. It can be fight-changing.
Those are my favorite kinds of ultimates.
That's true.
Simple, unique, interesting.
Very unique.
Allows you to be very
100% unique.
I love that kind of stuff. And that's why I've gravitated towards champions like that. Champions like Thresh as well, I wanted to touch on just a little bit. Very versatile. The way you play the champion can really change the outcome of the game. Whether or not you play him a bit more passively, play him a bit more aggressively, itemize for either respective build. He's very flexible and allows your team, if they're smart enough, which I think I can say our Saints are relatively smart enough, to take the game wherever you want it to. And I really appreciate that as well.
I mean, Thresh, you could see a Thresh that doesn't leave lane until like level 7, and you can see a Thresh that's ganked mid 4 times before his ADCs even hit level 6, right?
Sometimes with his ADC.
Yeah, sometimes with his ADC, you never know. Yeah, they can both roam up together if they're really feeling it. But these last 2 picks to come through. Okay, this is interesting. Sion. So we could theoretically be seeing a Gragas jungle right now.
Yeah, that's why I made that little stink face. I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Because, I mean, Sion jungle is technically a thing as well, but Gragas definitely, out of the 2, definitely the more suited to the jungle, or the more typical in the jungle. Ahri mid, truthfully, I'm not sure how the Ahri Talia matchup is. It's 2 mages into each other, 2, like, kind of control bursty mages. I'm sure we're either going to see a gank there in the early levels and a first blood to come through or something the like, or both of them are going to be 100 CS 0-1 and 2 or 0-0-2 with, some assists under the belt at around 10 minutes, and we're not going to see much until they really have a lot of gold or that first few items. That's kind of how the mage lanes usually turn out.
If there's one thing that's certain about the mid matchup, both of those mid laners think they're going to win. So we're going to have to wait and see which one of them does it, or if it's going to be a bit of a tie. It really can go anybody's way with that matchup there. But with the draft wrapping up, we are going to throw it to a quick break, unless you had anything more you'd like to add to the draft, Josh.
I mean, overall, I'm liking the look of Old Dominion's team comp. They've got a clear goal. It's kind of like, CC one person, chain that CC up, or use that Jarvan R, just let them not get away. Yeah, shut down the big carry, whether that be the Talia, whether that be the Aphelios.
That works against the Saints.
Exactly, it works against this team comp, because realistically, once you get rid of the Talia and the Aphelios, there's not much left in that team in terms of damage. There's a lot of beefiness to it.
Unless he clicks the Lantern really
That's
hard.
True. The Lantern is almost like a great counter to that Jarvan R. But it also only works on one person. You get 2 or 3 people stuck in the Cataclysm there. The Lantern's only helping one of them.
You got to choose who you want to save, but thankfully we don't have to choose to save the action for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to throw it to a quick break, and when we get back, we are going to go right in to Game 1.
We are getting into the Rift here, everybody. Game 1 underway as players leave the base here. We've got the Saints. They're going to be on that blue side. Old Dominion University starting off on the red. Now we get to take a look at some of these runes, some of these summer spells a few players are taking. We do have an Ezreal with TP in the back pocket, which we have. I've seen it before. Personally, I've seen it before, but it's interesting to see that taken into an Aphelios Thresh lane, which can, sometimes be a pretty aggressive lane. There's no heal, there's no exhaust down in that bot lane now. It's going to be up to this Amumu to really get a lot of this peel through.
Absolutely. Everything feels a little bit all or nothing on both ends of the teams here, and all or nothing usually yields the best risk and reward. So each team here really gonna have to put in the work to turn the game into their favor, and that's exactly what they intend to do. In the bottom side, we have Aphelios peeking out the river, Talia in the top side, Akashi, a fan favorite if you ask me, sneaking out, seeing if they can catch any wards, doing the dirty work that must be done to keep their lanes secure.
That'll mean Akashi will actually theoretically hit level 2 first by a very, very slight margin. I think it would just be the 1 minion there. But, I mean, hey, you take the XP. It was also, I believe, 25 gold over to him. So it's a nice little start, right? Helps you. It's one more CS.
I hope that ends up changing the game fundamentally.
Yeah, 25 whole gold. Skyco getting in there off the start with some poke. Biscotti, that's a nice flay back, but realistically, level 1, neither Amumu nor Thresh really has their full kind of like 1-2 combo set up. Amumu, you kind of want that Q, and then the E follow-up for a little bit of damage. But Thresh, obviously you're waiting on hook. Flay, Biscotti did opt to start the Flay here level 1, so we're definitely not seeing any engagements from the Saint side of things until level 2 for sure. Up here in the top lane, this Pantheon going ham on Ricky Lafleur right now.
He's doing his best here. He's going to get the full charge. Oh, no, he won't.
That is first blood.
Yep, first blood going in the favor of Old Dominion University. In the bottom side, we have Biscotti and Rockboom. Things looking relatively favorable for them. Skyo and Volfins are doing a little worse for wear in terms of contesting for the CS, getting flayed back. Rockboom getting caught out against the ridge line, taking quite a bit of punishment, but Skyo is also going to take quite a beating as well. Things are heating up just a little bit, but not quite at a boil just yet, Josh. But in the top lane, after we've just spilt over from a boiling with that kill against Ricky, they are boiling yet again. Ricky charging up his Q, going in for one more desperate strike. He has to flash in, he commits, but he does not commit enough, but he commits just the perfect amount.
1 for 1.
Technically, 2 lives there dropped by Ricky, technically, because he got the first one. But the bottom lane, we have the Mandarin chasing down Biscotti. He is definitely going to go down here, try to get one last-minute flay off, but it's not going to connect. Rockboom turning around with Alonso coming from the jungle side. And in the mid lane, we have Akashi doing a little bit of skirmishing as well. Back to bottom, Rockboom is going to have to do his damnedest to defend his creep wave. But he gets gone in by the Mandarin. The perfect initiation is going to catch out the Aphelios and take him down. Alonso is just going to have to lick his wounds and retreat back into the jungle while his team makes their way back into the lane. That is devastating a bit, Josh. That is going to change how you're going to try approaching your laning stage being 1-4 this early on.
I mean, hey, look, I talked about the stats earlier in the pregame. We talked about how Saints definitely being the favorite in this matchup, but Old Dominion showing us they got the work to put in. The Mandarin, that was a great gank bot lane, and the fact that he stayed in that middle bush knowing the Saints didn't have vision, waited for Rockboom to just get a little too comfortable, walk forward with Alonso there as Alonso tried to come in for, that second little touch gank there from the river, but that's just Mandarin's ticket to go in.
Here's another one he's cashing in. Wow, he charges.
This could be a
right
third death top lane. It's going to be a third death top lane. Ricky, you can charge up the Q as much as you want, but you're playing into a Pantheon. He's got support from a Jarvan. Pantheon is just that quintessential, brawler, or that quintessential bully in the lane there. Even being a melee champ, somehow he still gets away with bullying just about any champ in the game there. And now he's sitting at 3-1. He's already got a pickaxe bot, most likely going to be able to get another back off. This Pantheon could start being a real issue, but I'm still looking at that 2-0 of Ezreal in the bot lane. Volfins right now, they're going in for an engage. Skyco getting rooted up, double roots up. That's going to be the disengage in the bot lane, but that's a good trade that the Saints are going to take the better of. This Ezreal, though, still sitting around full health. He's got a Sheen as the buy. He's already got that tier as well stacking up. He's so ahead so early, and this isn't even where Ezreal shines in the game is the thing.
That's a scary thing for the Saints.
That is a scary part to think about.
And I think we actually saw a similar situation to this in one of the Saints' previous games where a lot of kills were going in the top side, but ultimately didn't end up mattering too much because of the way that the team compositions were ordered and the way that the map was ended up being played out. All the deaths top ended up not mattering at all. But I think this game is quite different, where I think Ricky's role is going to be a lot more strict in initiating and taking these fights. So the fact that he is actually falling behind is going to be quite damaging, as well as, again, two sides to every coin, not just Ricky being behind, but the Pantheon on Old Dominion University is going to be significantly ahead. And Pantheon is not a champion you want to be too ahead against squishy, vulnerable carries like Aphelios. But again, the Thresh is going to be there to protect him. It is going to have to, we're going to have to wait and see how to see things turn out. But quite a different economic situation for the players on the Saints side.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Both Akashi, both Ezreal. Here's the ultimate coming in from Ostara there. Flash does come out, but Ignite is burned. Akashi, after the flash, you kind of realize that you're a little cooked there. Rock Boom is going to fall in the bot lane. There is two ganks happening simultaneously. The roam from that Pantheon R and the gank bot here from the Mandarin. They're able to pick up 2 kills simultaneously. Now, I want to take a look at gold here, if we could get that checked in just a second, because look at the differences. Yes, Akashi just died. The kill was given over to that Pantheon. There's a lot of gold towards this top lane. Oh, hold on. Alonso wants to go in. Skyko is dangerously low, but you might have to take this Lantern, Alonso.
Lantern, what did I tell you?
Look at his health bar. Alonso got dangerously low there. Alonso, I'm thinking about the Lantern still.
Always be thinking about the Lantern. The Lantern is essential. The Lantern is king.
That's true.
I've been saying it for years. Nobody's believed me, but we're going to see here. The Lantern is probably the best thing in League of Legends, if you ask me. Except for ZZ Raw Portal. They need to bring that back.
Yeah, I would love for ZZ Raw. Yeah, Banner of Command, too. Honestly. Let's get all those type of items
I don't know what they were thinking with that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Bring it back.
I know exactly what Ricky's thinking here. He's thinking of fully charged stun, but he's not going to get it. Not quite. But they are going to trade some HP. Ricky getting a little bit confident here, charges in, trying to do as much damage as he can. And Talia, Akashi laying the rock mine, pushes him through, and he doesn't even get to do his final charge to do a little bit of goodbye damage. Akashi's going to walk out of that fully healed up, fully healthy.
That is a massive shutdown to go to Akashi too. He is not only ahead in CS up against this Ahri here, but he's able to pick up a 300 gold shutdown. Yes, there is going to be that Hextech Dragon bot, but these objectives are being traded out. You see Alonso and Akashi up there. Now Ricky, as Akashi moves back towards mid, but they are going to pick up that Rift Herald as this trade. Hextech Drake, though, that is looking good over towards Old Dominion. That is all the stats that Ezreal wants. Ability haste and attack speed, give me that. Volfins is going to take that any day of the week. And he's still feeling ahead here. Keep in mind, a lot of the CS is looking towards the Saints right now. There is slight leads in a few of these lanes. You've got Ricky up 12-13, but the kills are offsetting that right now for Old Dominion.
Right, and with that objective trade going to the teams, things are looking a little bit even, deceptively so with that kill score line. It might look like Old Dominion is taking these quite handedly, but again, ultimately, the way the kills are allocated does still play a role, and things are still relatively even. Again, you never want to have too many deaths on your team, especially if it's going to come out again. Jarvan is in the top side. This could turn into another death for Ricky, especially if he keeps charging in here. The Mandarin is going to get spotted out, I believe, so Ricky knows he has to just tuck tail and stay under tower, just keep things a little bit chill so he doesn't keep throwing away too many deaths. Stuns him up to cancel the charge. He's gonna go for another one. That's gonna be a lot of damage for relatively free here. Pantheon's not gonna like that too much, but Jarvan is gonna come in to do something about it. Stay away from my little brother, he says. He's mine for me to bully.
You're already there. You might as well come back in and give some support. There is going to be a back, so he's just helping out, push the wave a little bit. Ricky's going to cancel this one out,
This could be a kill. If he still has his ultimate, I'm not quite sure if he does.
The thing is, Sion has very little damage once that Q is expended. Ignite now down on to Ricky. Flash behind, and he is able to grab that kill. Ultimate going to be used out by the Mandarin to secure the kill onto Ricky. Now, Zombie Sion chasing down the Mandarin here.
Ooh, that
red side jungle, the
box out of it.
Drop. This is going to be a big tower dive towards that bot lane. Aphelios ultimate is huge there under tower.
Saints are taking charge and taking charge quite handily. That economic balance we were talking about before has quickly fallen out of line. Saints almost now exactly 1K above, leading the scoreboards. Again, kills are getting closer, and kills still show Old Dominion has the advantage here. But map state-wise, I would say power spike-wise for champions, I think Saints are in actually a pretty healthy spot. And I'm not sure if they expended the Rift Herald yet. They still have that in their back pocket, but the back pocket is getting thrown out. The charm is going to land on Alonso. The push is going to end there. They take their kill, and they're happy with it. They don't want to spend too much time or too many risks trying to get those kills on the tower. It would be relatively risky.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about looking at that kill score line, looking at 9-5 or 8-5, and really seeing, hold on, look at this under tower here, Ricky. That is a lot of poke you're getting in there. Do you have no R available?
Okay.
That's a flash for nothing but threatening him, right? There's no... Ricky doesn't have flash available. Ricky has no way to realistically close that gap, but he's just able to threaten that out of the Mandarin there. Now he gets into a fight with Ascora, though. You look towards mid, and Akashi's grabbing flashes. He's grabbing kills with that Leandries as well. The Lantern is king.
And that's going to turn into a kill, I believe. No, he has to flash, but he flashes through. Throws the barrel, gets the kill. You're not getting away from me. The Lantern said you need to die, and I agree. The hook goes through. Flay is not going to come out just yet. Yep, perfectly timed. I'm going to toss him right into the barrel, and they're just waiting for Akashi to come in, clean it up. Saints are wrapping up this bottom tower, and they want it to go down as fast as possible. Josh, what happened?
So much action. We don't even have time to really take a look at the greater state of things here on the map.
Because in the top lane, Ricky looked at Pantheon and said, "Flash right now." And he said, "Okay." And he flashed, and it worked, right?
Yeah, it worked. He grabbed that. I mean, granted, this Pantheon is still 5-3. That is going to be first tower going over to the Saints. That's a big chunk of gold. You're now 2.5K up when we were even at 15K not 2 to 3 minutes ago. Not only that, Old Dominion was up kills. Now these kills are starting to go in favor of the Saints, and Old Dominion has a lot of kill pressure when it's 3 players layering their CC together, right? When you've got an Ahri charm followed up by a Pantheon stun into an Amumu Q, yeah, whoever gets hit by that is gonna die most likely. At the top lane, Ricky, will he die?
I think he absolutely will. Thankfully, that Cataclysm's closed, because that would have been a you're locked in here with me situation, not the other way around. But Akashi is going to try turning things around with the bridge coming through. Flashes in, a lot of flashes going on, and the Rock is going to tank right in Pantheon's face as he tried to interfere with Akashi's business. He says, absolutely no way. And in the middle lane, we have Biscotti flaying back the Amumu into the box. That's going to be another kill for the Saints. In the middle lane, a lot of pinging going on. Someone's trying to tell us something. I'm not sure what, though, but I definitely appreciate that noise. It's a nice noise to make. A Rock Boom is going to make the beautiful noise of an Ezreal death underneath the second tier tower. And in the jungle, another kill is going to take place. That's going to be Alonso taking out the Jarvan. Joshua, please tell me what is happening. I'm losing track.
All at once, the gold lead flipped on its head. We're seeing over 1,500 up mid. We're seeing 1,000 up in the jungle, 1,000 up bot, where these lanes were in the advantage of Old Dominion 2 minutes ago, and it just keeps stacking up here for the Saints. You've got Rock Boom diving that inner turret there, that second tier, to be able to grab the kill onto the Ezreal. That was a shutdown as well, if I'm not mistaken. You've got Alonso here top lane, grabbing double kills left and right for Ricky's sacrifice. Ricky's playing Sion. He's fine with dying if it means that his team is going to grab 2 more kills, because he gets value off the death regardless. He gets zombie form there.
I think this is a non-zero chance that Akashi actually picks up this kill, especially with Alonso coming up from the jungle, but he is going to be really low. He has to pop the Hourglass. Flay coming back, bringing Amumu closer to Rock Boom's gun. The Lantern is there, tempting him. Come on. Nah, he's not going to take it. The Lantern called, and he did not pick up.
Well, you're expecting to take that Lantern if Biscotti hits the hook, right? Then Biscotti tries to call out the sidestep to the right. Skyko's just going to walk back to his tower. He's like, listen, I'm going to take the easy route out of here. And Biscotti, you know, realistically, if you're Rock Boom, I'm taking that Lantern. You could try to force a kill. You could. There is still an Essence Reaver Ezreal sitting under that tower is the issue. Yeah, you were able to win the 1v1 earlier, Rock Boom, but there's still the tower to worry about.
Old Rock Boom would have taken that chance.
Old Rock Boom.
10 minutes ago, Rock Boom would have taken that chance, but new Rock Boom, he wouldn't. He's playing it safe. And you know what? There's a reason he's playing.
Rock Boom never would. Pickaxe Rock Boom, different story.
But ever since he dropped the Gale Force album, he's just changed.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, honestly.
But you know, there's a reason he's up there and I'm not. And there's a reason in the bottom lane, Ahri is getting fully charged by Ricky. What that reason is, I'm not quite sure, honestly. And there's another reason that Volfins is getting flayed into our Thresh. The box is going to go out a lot of effects going off. The Cataclysm locked him in with them, not them in with him. And we have Pantheon desperately trying to make something happen underneath the tower, but Alonso says, no! Get away from my ADC, get away from my support. You're going back to your fountain, buddy.
Yeah, and can we talk about Ricky LaFleur coming in like a NASCAR down the river and blowing up the bot lane of Old Dominion? Ezreal Amumu no longer on the board. This Rift Herald dropped to mid as well. That's going to be tier 2 to be cleared up very, very quickly from the side of the Saints here. You don't have too many minions to work with, so are we looking at an inhibitor? Realistically, no. That Ahri is going to be able to defend, and these respawns are starting to come through. But look at the gold lead now, Daniil.
I don't want to, man.
Like 8K gold lead currently for the Saints in a matter of 6 minutes. Realistically, at 10 minutes, this game was dead even, and in a matter of 6 to 7 minutes here, the Saints have picked up, now having multiple players with 500 to 600 gold shutdowns. You have 2 players up over that 500 gold shutdown mark. Ricky LaFleur has a shutdown who was 1 and 3 not like 5 minutes ago. And now he's almost even in terms of those kills, in terms of those assists as well. 4 and 5, that's a respectable that's a respectable score for a Skyon. Tripping over my words here.
Mr. Profundi, I never like to call things preemptively, and I always give teams the benefit of the doubt. But if I'm being honest, things are looking really tough for Old Dominion. If you are in any of their positions, how are you looking to turn things around in your favor? Because I'm thinking, obviously, you want to get your Ezreal farmed, and obviously, you don't want your Jarvan and Pantheon to die in the top lane, but that might just be what happens. Ricky taking so much damage and dealing out so much on his own. They dodge through the barrel. Pantheon goes in. He says, take it, buddy. I'll tank the death. You just get out of here alive. You have to live for the both of us. And Jarvan takes that to heart. He's going to retreat into the jungle, try to find an opportunity to recall out, and he just might get it, but Sketty's not going to be able to find him. But in the middle lane, Akashi is kind of fending off a push, but they actually might pincer him in the middle lane. If Akashi gets the memo, he might catch him off. They're pinging him. Akashi, please, please. No,
they're too focused off lane. Akashi making this rotate through the jungle. You take the pick and you back out. If Jarvan wants to run away through your own jungle, he's not even stealing camps. You've got track of him the whole time. You've got Biscetti following him. That means one player's bot side, so you can force this top turret. That's what Akashi's looking towards. They're playing 5-head over here. They're playing for the turrets, for the objectives, right? Let that Jarvan run away. Let him do what he wants. We're up on CS on him. We're able to grab another turret, but if we're going back to what we were talking about before all this action pops off like every single time here.
Gracious.
Right now, Old Dominion, what do you look for is the question. At the starting of this game, you're finding so much success collapsing on players from the Saints. You had the Mandarin come in, you had Oscara come in, and they were able to lock down one player and find a pick, whether it be Akashi, whether it be Rockboom, which made the rest of the fight super, super easy for them. But now, who do you pick? Because if you try to take down Rockboom, Akashi is going to blow up your team. If you try to take down Akashi, Rockboom gets to do Aphelios things and just keep changing out his guns and resetting and getting these AoE ultimates. And then, on top of all that, Ricky and Alonso are still doing respectable damage. Ricky down here in the bottom lane, not too much MR to his name, still 1v1ing the Ahri. Rex
a wall is coming out. Ahri's not getting out of this unless she can dash through. She has to commit the flash to get home safely. But again, now you're playing Ahri against Thresh, Sion, Gragas without a flash for about 3 minutes. I'm not quite sure what the cooldowns are these days, but that is tough. 5 minutes?
Yeah, it's flash. 300 seconds. It's been like that for ages.
Listen, my memory is not as great as I made it out to seem a little bit earlier when I called the name of a champion correctly.
Of course.
Okay, but like I was mentioning slightly before, things are looking relatively tough. You do obviously want to get your Ezreal farm, but if you're looking at the state of this map, that is just looking harder and harder to do by the second. And as you pointed out, in these fights, you could very easily focus on one champion and go for one, see what you can do against them. But as every other champion gets stronger and stronger, eventually you run out of options, and no matter who you pick, the answer's wrong. Someone else is going to kill you. And even if you magically get Akashi and Rockboom out at the same time, you have Alonso and Ricky doing incredible amounts of damage, and that's exactly what Alonso's going to try to do, but they are going to escape to the middle lane. It looks like they are setting up a Baron, or Saints are actually looking to pick up a Dragon, and Old Dominion is trying to recenter around to the top side instead. Maybe they pick up on exactly what the Saints are doing, and they're going to try capitalizing.
Are they going to try this Baron?
They might, but
that's the Mandarin dashing in. The only thing is, yeah, Ricky's top side here.
He
knows that they're starting this Baron, or does he? He's fighting Oscura. He has to try and make it down to the Baron. Yeah, he sees them coming out from the pit. There's the Aura into the pit. He's going to slide through, reconvene with his team.
Akashi, the wall through on the top side. The minefield catch two immediately. Right on the wave. No, actually, he goes down before they can get through. Alonso has to come in and pick up the kill. Amumu is going to get caught in the bushes. Not where you want to be, buddy. I'm sorry. Thresh hook just misses narrowly. Ricky does not have his charge. He had to commit it just before, so they are going to be able to get out relatively scot-free there. By relatively scot-free, I mean they're missing 3 champions, Josh. It happened exactly like you said. They were able to pick out and commit onto 1 critical champion, that being Akashi, but as soon as they did that, the rest of the Saints wiped them up immediately. And we got Volfin here trying to do some poking, trying to see what he can get, but he was not expecting Ricky to show up behind him, and he hit him somehow there. Look, he dodged it, and he just executes him.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
What do you do?
Well, there's a Scion charging up. He saw him burn his, I believe it's called Essence Flux, that E, the dash, yeah. The temporal shift, I think, something like that. He sees the E used from the Ezreal, starts charging up that Q. Ezreal did actually have Flash available, but you're kind of expecting that kill to come through regardless. The Baron was just cleared out. You know there's going to be 4 more players chasing you down. Kind of just accepts it from Ricky there. And Ricky now positive for himself. 650 gold shutdown, 7 and 5. As of right now, the Saints have built up a 12k gold lead, an 11 kill lead, and started grabbing much more objectives for themselves. They've grabbed the last dragon, they've grabbed the first Rift Herald, and now they've grabbed Baron here. How are you going to stop them right now? Old Dominion backs against the wall. I mean, you were playing towards this Ezreal to be kind of your hyper carry.
Oh, and he can't do that when he's dead, can he, Josh? I don't think so.
Late game is a stretch in this game right now.
I'll tell you what, Josh, there is one way. No, there's more than one way, but the best way I can think of Old Dominion to actually take this out is through the power of friendship. Yeah, and I think if they believe strong enough, they can do anything.
Heart of the cards, too.
Honestly.
That one would help.
They might draw an instant revive for Vulcans here. He has 15 seconds on the clock. That does not sound like a lot, but when you have Ricky on your bottom side, chopping up your mid laner, chopping up the inhibitor, Basketti about to land a hook, which he absolutely nails into a follow-up. The chains of CC is endless. They get Ari as soon as Volfin's
Imagine
back.
Moving. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be Ari there.
I couldn't.
Rex.
It's just too hard.
Those ones just hurt. When you get hit by one piece of CC and this team is just so on point that they're comboing it up. Look at a Mumu under the tower there. Skyko
gets Mandarin. Oh, the flash. Alone. He goes right with him. The Cataclysm and the box. Looks like a scary little pentagram there. I do not like the look of that, but they are going to like the look of the Nexus falling. Not our beautiful Nexus outside, Josh. The Nexus in the game. Of course, our Nexus outside is going to stand while Old Dominions in-game will fall. And that is game 1 of St. Clair Saints versus Old Dominion University. And wow, that's all I can say. Wow.
Yeah, wow. I mean, 10 minutes into that game, we can talk about it all we want. 10 minutes into that game,
wow,
this was even. Dead even, 15k, kills in the lead of Old Dominion, a little bit of a CS lead in terms of the Saints there, a few plates under their belt as well. And then suddenly, Akashi picks up 2 kills. Rockboom stayed at 2-2 for most of that early game, up to like 15, 16 minutes. And then he had a Gale Force, and he had Berserker Greaves, and he started grabbing a little bit more AD for himself, and suddenly he's absolutely melting the other side of the bot lane. He's melting that Jarvan as well. He was able to 1v1 up the Jarvan in his own Cataclysm at one point. When that's happening to you,
things are tough.
It's tough, especially as the Jarvan in that situation.
It's games like this that make me wish something like the Hyperbolic Time Chamber was real. Not so you could like train in a very small period of time, but so you could just sit and watch this game and try to figure out exactly what point was the turning point. Because things felt so heavily in the favor of the Old Dominion, but then something changed, and I honestly don't even know what. It was trickles.
What it felt like to me was Akashi picking up the shutdown top lane, right? There was a 3-1, 4-1 Pantheon, something of the sort. 3-1, 300 gold shutdown.
That gave Ricky enough time to kind of get back into the game. He was kind of behind at some point. He wasn't really able to trade.
But he was up in CS for most of the time. He was up 5 or 6 CS, sometimes even like up to 15 at one point in that laning phase. All while this Pantheon was, 3-1, taking him down a lot. But every time that zombie Scion would come out, he just goes straight to the wave. He's not concerned about the Pantheon anymore. Just savor as much CS as possible. And we saw how it transferred into that mid and, I guess, late game. 22 minutes. The mid game, essentially.
The term late game is relative. A 20-minute game, 15 minutes is mid.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, I think that turning point might have just been Ricky getting a little bit of breathing room thanks to Akashi's assistance. Bottom lane.
And Akashi getting gold from that as well. The gold was a big thing. It let Akashi get Liandry's, and then he's burning down this Ahri every single time they trade.
Exactly. Akashi was actually doing like a really unsettling amount of damage relatively early on. It's damage just uncanny. You look at it and you're like, this isn't real, right? Like, and then you wake up and the damage is still real.
You're still burning from the Liandry's.
The plot twist is you actually were dreaming about the damage being that crazy, but you wake up and it's still crazy. That's the ultimate timeline that we're in. But Saints, we're in the timeline where they take the first game of the series, but the rest of the games, that's anybody's guess, Josh.
Yeah, 1-0 on the board right now for the Saints. Game 2 on the horizon. We're going to be back with draft for that after a little break here. Teams are going to get side sorted, get this next draft underway. We'll throw it to a short break. It's been Fundy and Daniil here. We'll meet you back in Game 2.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back, everybody. Getting ready for game 2 here. Draft 2. Yeah, game number 2. Draft number 2 about to get underway. Old Dominion looks like they're going to be towards that left side on the blue side here. Do have a bit of a swap. And it looks like they are, taking a hint from that last game.
Yep.
Alonso absolutely popped off on the Gragas.
You would do it too.
I mean, when a full AP Gragas has been blowing up your team for 20 minutes, I would ban it out game 2 as well. Saints coming back in, same bans. Caitlyn as that first one for themselves.
They just don't like this champion at all.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, who wants to play against the Caitlyn?
I like her. Truthfully, her hat's
playing
cool.
as Caitlyn is cool.
No, I'm not even talking about playing it, dude. Her hat's just cool. I like her style.
Oh, cool design. Yeah.
Why ban Thresh? Thresh is balanced. You just got to counterplay. You don't have to ban him. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know about the Thresh ban. I mean, yeah, personally, there's just a ton of other supports that are going to be just as obnoxious as Thresh in that sense. Like, I'd almost rather ban away, say, that mid laner from, like, that Talia. I would get that out of the way before we worry about Thresh, but there is another ban on the horizon regardless.
You'd rather ban Varus than ban Thresh.
Caitlyn Varus, I am down to just have that out of the game every single time here. I'm kind of liking the Saints idea on that one. As much as it is fun to watch someone not move and just get blown up in the bot lane, let's save that for those 20-minute team fights when it requires all 5 people.
Bans, they're here. They're here to stay.
Aphelios.
Yep.
So they're leaving that Talia open again this game. One that was a big problem, to say the least, for Old Dominion last game. Akashi, we talked about it, kind of was the turning point in that game to really flip that on its head.
Akashi does that, like,
Akashi is the turning point in general.
Really.
Yeah.
There's not much, unless you just ban Akashi himself, there's not much you can really do about that. They're going to ban out the Jarvan. I guess they might have found him a little bit too problematic that last game. Again, I don't know if I'd really commit a ban to it, but honestly, again, I'm not sure if they get the first or second pick here.
I mean, their last ban was Sedge. That could have just been like a comfort ban, kind of just get that out of the jungle. Now they know
now
that
they might be
Dominion likes the Jarvan, right?
Yeah, and they might be able to pick it.
That's true as well. They could be looking at that. I mean, it is one that we have seen these Saints pick previously. Jinx first pick.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking, like, what these bans might have indicated for either team here. And I'm thinking you don't want to have to face really long-range lockdown. You don't want to face repositioning, and you don't want to face somebody that can outrange your ADC. So Jinx is actually a relatively decent ban, decent pick. And they have the Ashe pick from St. Clair College. Very flexible, can be a support, can be an ADC. Back in my day, it was just an ADC. But newfangled technology, you guys are saying that support.
We saw Ashe support over, or actually, I guess it was still Ashe ADC. I was going to say back in Season 6 when there was that whole Ashe MF thing that kind of took over Worlds.
You know, just realize Nautilus is still in the pool, and so is Maokai, and so is Karma.
That's true.
Really, like,
these are a lot of, and Karma was banned out last game.
Every single series, basically. So we have the picks here. There's a lot of really dangerous picks still in the pool, but we see the Lulu. That's one of those dangerous picks, if you ask me. Another one of my favorite
Ashe
champions,
Lulu.
of course.
That is a terrifying bot lane in a lot of senses, but Nautilus Jinx in the bot lane. This is going to be an interesting one because you're looking at the side of Ashe Lulu and you're like, okay, they're trying to kind of poke it out, wait until they really get the advantages going, and then allow Ashe to get that attack speed boost and just start shredding somebody. There's the Sedge to be picked up. We were just informed as well that Maddie is going to be playing in the jungle here for game 2 over Alonso there. Yeah, he's going to be taking that spot in the jungle for this game. And if we do remember correctly, Udyr, that's your boy.
That is my
boy.
Hey, listen,
right there.
This guy's a slanderer. He's a worm.
What do you mean? I love Udyr.
He slanders Udyr players. Don't listen to him. Don't trust him.
I slander Udyr players. Yeah, I love the character.
You see, he does not respect the hustle. My fellow Udyr monks out there, namaste. We're out here. We represent. I'm not a big fan of the rework. Not a big fan, but Udyr's Udyr. You can't take that away from him. But you don't get the grind.
You play the same champ for long enough, sure, you're going to hate the rework. But I believe the rework will come around on you. I believe it will, personally.
Only champ I played. But they are going to ban out Jax, one of the only other champs I played, funnily enough. And they are going to ban out the Syndra, another Akashi classic, I believe.
Yeah, and it's just, not even, we have seen him on the Syndra, but it's more so just, it's a solid mid-ban regardless, right? Syndra just has so much control over the lane, over the team fight. You've got, like, one-shot potential. It's just it's a lot of problems problems you don't want to deal with. Now, these last 2 bans from St. Clair going straight towards that top lane. Obviously, you know, it was a bit of a problem for Ricky in that early game up against the Pantheon. Obviously, they did flip it on its head later on there, but I do want to see what this last ban is from Old Dominion. They're going to be picking up the Irelia again.
Another one.
Yeah, they banned that out last game as well, saving it for ban 5 here. I mean, we don't really see Ricky on the Irelia too much, but I'm not against them taking it off the board. But
classic
Olaf is going to be the pick for Ricky this game. I mean, technically, you could throw it in another lane, but we know Ricky wants that Olaf.
When you look at the previous game, Clad, another one of my favorite champions. This is weird. Yeah, like I said, this is weird. Picking some of my favorites. But when you look at the previous game and you look at how it turned out, how things played, when you look at the last bans from the Saints, it kind of tells a little bit of a story. We win games when Ricky gets stomped. What if Ricky didn't get stomped? Will we win harder? Question mark?
That's the question. The other question is, Olaf into Kled. Who wins this matchup? Kled, a lot of survivability. Beard. Yeah, honestly, a lot of survivability with that Skarl in hand, but then you have Olaf who has so much healing, a good chunk of poke with his Qs as well.
Is this the first time we've seen Diana here? I think so.
Possibly. At least here in NACE Starleague.
I forgot that champion existed. Another one of my favorites, though. Okay. I love the design.
Diana's amazing. She comes back into the meta like every once in a while. She'll just be...
It's like a full moon.
Very... Exactly. Yeah, full moon, half moon. You know, sometimes it disappears, but it always comes back in full swing.
Until it crashes into the earth.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a perfect for this comp that Old Dominion's trying to set up, which is kind of CC, combo more CC. You've got teams trying to get in there, players trying to get in there off of that Kled ultimate. You have Sejuani and Nautilus who can just start wreaking havoc inside of this St. Clair team, and you have Jinx who you're kind of relying on as your full carry or the hard carry for the rest of this game. It looks like we are going to be getting into game soon.
Thankfully.
Yeah, it didn't crash. Thankfully, there we go.
Hey.
Unfortunately, you don't get to see our beautiful faces anymore, but I mean, we all want to see the rift. Yeah, your beautiful face.
I forgot you're an Udyr slanderer. Things are going to change. Right. Okay, you're a worm to me.
I'm not an Udyr slanderer.
Okay. You're gonna say I'm just telling the truth. Yeah, nice one.
I'm not just telling the truth. I'm just telling my solo queue experience.
Listen,
as many of us, Udyr running down our lane over and over and
back
over again.
Back in my day, your team used to yell at you for picking Udyr because he wasn't good. Now I look at this game again after 5 years, and apparently he's broken. Apparently he's broken. I'm like, what?
The game's just honestly, and this is a very interesting one because I want to kind of touch on this too. The game's just different now in general.
Really?
I mean, obviously, a game that gets patched every 2 weeks is going to have some drastic changes over time, but it's almost just like the style of play, right? Junglers now, if Udyr comes in, stuns you, and runs away, that's a solid gank because most of the laners have, a lot of utilities and a lot of tools to kind of just follow up on that.
A layman like you would not understand the intricacies that go into that run-in and stun. Okay.
Okay. You click E and then you stun them on an auto attack.
You do not. Where's your diploma? Where's your degree in Udyr? I don't see it.
I have a degree in Udyr.
Bro, you went to the most rundown, random school in the middle of nowhere where they pay you. You give them. They pay you $10 to get a diploma from them. But
scholarship.
You know what? Touche.
Scholarship.
Touche. But Maddie is going to be delivering an Udyr Academy, and in the bottom lane, Skyo, Volfins, Rockboom, and Boschetti are going to be getting things going on very close to underneath the tower. Rockboom is going to be doing his best to deter the offense, and still looked a little bit messy, looked a little bit scary. Things are going to end up relatively even for both teams. The trade is going to be looking relatively favorable for the Saints because Jinx has yet to land a last hit. Oh, gets to right away as soon as I say that.
Yeah, you're not really concerned about the CS. A big thing, too, is Rockboom has yet to burn his potion. Meanwhile, Volfin's potion burned, right? So Rockboom is going to pop it. Now they're going to be sitting around similar health levels once this is actually all said and done, and Rockboom's all healed up. Over towards the top lane, this is what I expect to see a lot. We're going to see a lot of Kled running away. Olaf Qs, Olaf Cleavers getting thrown, Olaf Axes getting thrown, and then he's going to run back. That's the exhaust to be used from this Kled. Ignite still on the horizon as well. Stun comes through the flash. The Mandarin, can you follow up? But towards the bot lane, Boschetti is getting engaged on right now. Volfins needs one more auto attack. That's first blood over to Volfins, and that's a double kill in the bot lane for this Jinx. That is a huge start for Old Dominion right now. Nothing going to come come off of that top lane play. It was just going to be burning those summoner spells of Ricky Lafleur. Oh, Oscora did use that Ignite. We didn't get to see that as there was just so much action going on the map.
But guess who's level 4? Guess who's level 4? Udyr, that's who. Okay, he's going to come steaming by with a turtle shell, and he's going to come bear stance in, or whatever it's called now, I don't know. And then he's going to stun you up. He's going to be delivering and opening some openings all over the map.
I think they're based on like the some of the gods now. I guess the Freljord god. So it's like Ornn, you've got like the Ram god, you've got like the aspect of Volibear or something like that, and then you've got the Phoenix as well. There's a fourth one that I'm definitely blanking on. I believe it's the bear. Yeah, so the Phoenix, there's the Cryo Phoenix, and then there's like the regular Phoenix, I guess.
But where's the Cryo Phoenix to help Asakura in the top lane from Ricky Lafleur's flurry of blows?
That's just Olaf.
That's just like
Olaf things.
He just killed him. There was no dramatics, there was no theatrics, there was no flair, but there was a Ricky Lafleur taking him out, getting a free kill basically. But I digress. From the middle lane, from the bottom lane, there's a lot more action going on all over the Rift right now, and these teams are trying to scour for any advantage they can find. Bottom lane is squaring off yet again. Nautilus is taking his sweet time getting to the bushes, but eating a lot of poke from Boschetti, and in the middle lane, Akashi is doing a lot of damage, but he's really low himself. He just narrowly escapes an assault there. Kled is going to be making his way to the mid lane. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I do know what's going on in the bottom lane with the Mandarin chasing up Boschetti. The hook connects. Skyo, Rock Boom is so low underneath the tower if they can find anything left. They can't. They get the kill, but the taser connects just barely. That hitbox needs to be examined because I think that Ashe is a little bit smaller than we were.
He looked like he sidestepped it. Nonetheless, that was going to hit. I mean, I think it's because that Jinx W, right, that taser, it like gets skinnier right before it hits. So the hitbox is actually that initial big rectangle before it skinnies out and actually shoots out there. But nonetheless, 3-0 on this Jinx right now. Volfin's having the time of his life in bot lane, getting all the support he needs from that jungler, all the support he needs from Skyko there on the Nautilus as well. Rockboo was able to pick up one back, but all you grab is a Zerk Greaves on the respawn. Meanwhile, there's a pickaxe ahead for Volfins right now. The damage coming out of this Jinx is going to be unbearable for the Saints bot lane coming into these next few plays.
The Mandarin, though, is behind. He does not want to let Ricky get this for free. Not this time, but Ricky might take it anyways. Throwing his axe out. He's only going to get slowed down, and that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to commit quite a little bit to put him down. Asakura is still alive, but at what cost, my friend? He's still relatively low, and he might not be able to stand the storm that Ricky is going to bring when he reaches his way back. And in the middle lane, Udyr went and did a little bit of Udyr things, and now they are going to make their way. Maddie leading the charge into the Water Dragon. And in the bottom side, we have Skyo's Nautilus kind of peeking a little bit. Akali is going back to the mid lane, not to raise too many suspicions. Diana is going to eat a little bit of damage. And in the top side, like I said, the Kled is going to have to recall just before Ricky gets back. He knows he can't really handle the heat, so he just goes home to lick his wounds until they're closed. But Maddie is going to open some wounds on the dragon, takes it out, smites it down. That's going to be a Water Dragon for the Saints. That might actually be quite advantageous right now. It might allow them to withstand a little bit more poke than they would otherwise. And this is a very poke-heavy game when you're playing against a Jinx, when you're playing against, somebody like Kled, Diana. This is going to be quite favorable, unless they change the Ocean Drake. It provides regen, correct?
Yeah. It's just going to be that health regen over time. I'm not sure if it still counts as out, if it's only out of combat or not anymore. It's been changed back and forth a few times, depending on the season, honestly. It's but yeah, it's always been some kind of regen, right? Whether it be in combat, out of combat, health, mana, whatever it be. But right now, it's health regen. That's going to help the Saints a little bit in lane with just the poke, like you said. Regen up a little bit more, have a higher base value for that. Rock Boom coming back to lane with that ultimate. Arrow connects onto the Jinx, but the Mandarin.
He's rolling down the hill like a Mandarin would in a situation like this. Things actually are going to disengage relatively even for both sides. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's feeling good. The little scrap happened, but, you know, somebody's parents got called, and they said, kids, settle down, settle down. Top side
the
principal came by, said, hey, man, you don't want the tension again, not after last week. And I was like, damn, he's right.
He was right. Yeah, that was Rock Boom and Biscotti saw the principal, aka the Mandarin, come in, and they realized, they were not trying to find their way back to the base just yet.
But you know what? You know where Maddie's gonna find his way? Rift Herald. You know, this is
sneaking that in too. Yeah. You know, there is like no vision on that top side other than in that top side river brush.
And Ricky's got pushed out
too much.
So even if Clyde wanted to kind of interfere here, he's gonna have to go through the jungle, and that's not exactly very favorable because you do open yourself a little bit more to getting ganked by the mid laner. Completely unrelated, is Udyr's like champion select like voice line the same? Because I loved it. I don't know what it is before.
I couldn't tell you. That's
you know what? You wouldn't.
For me.
You wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, because I've never picked him.
But you have a degree in Udyrology, apparently. Okay, phony.
Yeah, look at him right now. Look, he's the Ram.
Our rage is beyond your control. It's so good. I hope they didn't change it. I'll be so sad if they changed it. But what they are going to change is their game plan. Ultimate is getting a little bit more aggressive in the middle lane. Kled wrapping around from the backside. He misses the clamp. Akashi is going to go on the offensive, though, because he knows Biscotti has his back. Kled recognizing the situation is not exactly favorable for him. He just kind of walks back to the top lane. Ricky LaFleur is going to be farming the entire time. In the meantime, Maddie going to be hitting up the Scuttler, but the axe coming through on Asakura. I don't know how he plans on getting out of this, if at all. He falls off his mount. He's getting chopped down. Sejuani coming through, and he's going to take down Asakura, but in the bottom lane, we might see Biscotti go down. Rock Boom is going to be doing everything he can, but here comes Maddie, charging in with the power of the Ram, reaching through, desperately clawing at them, trying to get a little hint, but he's not going to get there. I know you're very happy about that, but we Udyr enjoyers know exactly the calculations he was running, all the different processes that he was calculating there, whether or not to make it a profitable exchange, but the stocks aren't there. He decides to sell before things go too low. But Rock Boom goes all in on the flash. He commits the ultimate, but there's no damage follow-up, and Maddie is the follow-up for the Saints, stunning him before he can do any more damage than he already did. Perfect launch, but again, no follow-up for him. Maddie gonna teleport home. Biscotti and Rock Boom are going to clean up this wave and feel very good about the exchange they just took, especially with the Water Drake, making things even better. They can recover some HP. They might not even have to recall. But the principal is coming down, deciding, I think you guys should go home, and that's exactly what they are going to do. Sending them home early today.
Mandarin gets to hold that wave. That's going to make it a little bit easier for the side of Old Dominion's bot lane. However, that was just a beautiful play from both Rockboom and Biscotti on the same page with that flash. The depth charge comes through. First player flashes it. It passes them. Second player gets to flash. I guess after they got hit, I don't know. It seems like they used it at the same time, but all I know is I saw Rockboom dodge that Nautilus R perfectly, and you were just able to convert into 2 kills off of that. One of them, ended up going over to Maddie, if I'm not mistaken.
He deserves it. He's taxing them.
Yeah, no, the Udyr does. He does deserve it in this sense. You've got Demonic Embrace now online. I didn't know that's what these Udyrs were running nowadays.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, AP Udyr is coming back in a big way.
I miss those days, but Maddie is missing the days of top lane because that's where he is right now. I think he's in a bit of a scrap right now. It looks like he might be on top of somebody.
Just wait.
No, I'm not sure. No, I'm crazy. Okay, I thought like
they looked like drop this Herald.
But yeah, they are going to drop it. They are going to take out this top tower relatively for free, and Akashi is here to make sure it goes exactly their way, make sure nobody comes here to interfere, and if they do, they're going to have to answer to him. And Asakura might be the one that has to answer for his crimes against defense. He has to get out of here, but they're not going to make it as easy. The axe is going to come out. One's going to land. He's going to be very slowed up underneath the tower. Akashi's there, charges through, sends him flying back. The dragon's going to go down in the meantime. They aren't going to get the kill. The Rift Herald goes down. They're not going to be able to take it out. Well, actually, never mind. They are. They're going to take it out very easily, actually. But in the bottom side, however, Biscotti and Rockboom are underneath a little bit of pressure. But with the power of friendship, they are going to escape it together with one swift arrow perfectly placed. Diana was making her way to the bottom side, but Rex Happy opts to just return to into the middle lane and keep contesting, but I'm not sure if he knows that Maddie made the same choice, and they did not actually fully retreat. They're going to send out the scout. They might actually be preparing to send an arrow to make things work out better, and in fact, that is exactly what they're looking to do. They're returning. Mandarin is not aware of the fact that Akashi is right behind him, but he might be now since he walked on top of the ward, and he's not going to care, actually. This is a fight that they want to take. Actually, Mandarin is going to walk out as Volfins goes down relatively close to the Saints tower, and Maddie's going to scoop up the stun, and then Akashi's going to pick up the kill on the Nautilus. The Mandarin just walked away from that. He put up his hands and said, hey, I'm a principal. I've worked here for years. I do not have to get involved in the fights of children. Gets out of there. Lets them sort it out themselves. Sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah, I mean, especially right now, the Mandarin has been going in for a lot of ganks, right? Trying to set up a lot of tower dives. Not much has really come of it after that first few minutes here. Now you're 40 CS down on this Udyr on Maddie, who's just been perma-farming, and in the top lane, Ricky Lafleur continually 1v1ing this Kled right here. I guess that answers my question of who sustains more, lifesteal or a second health bar. Turns out it's going to be lifesteal in most situations. You've also got the E from Ricky Lafleur is huge there because he gets exhausted by the Kled. Exhaust can't get rid of true damage. You cannot lower, you can't decrease true damage as far as I'm aware. So he just gets that free true damage, that execute, that E, that thunder strike, the lightning strike there from the Udyr, and he gets to from the Udyr, from the Olaf, and he gets
red free in your head now.
Udyr, I mean, how can he not be red free in your head?
You said it again. Oh man, I'm loving this. Listen, Udyr is.
I love Udyr. I don't know where this I'm a Udyr slander.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, do not listen to this man. He is a liar. He's a slander. He's a worm. But I digress. The action is on the Rift and not coming out of Josh's mouth. Those are only lies coming out of Josh's mouth. But
of course, top lane though. Look towards that top river. We've got this Herald being grabbed over by Maddie. That's going to be second Herald of the game. It's also going to mean objective bounties for Old Dominion. Not going to be able to grab at least from that. You're really just looking for a tower for themselves right now. They are trying to find this one. That's going to be a little bit, I believe, that's 250 split between the teams. So that's going to help out. Overall, you're only 4K down, essentially. However, the second Rift Herald might be down your mid.
But you might be down your Rock Boom. You got Nautilus charging from the side, landing the hook underneath the tower. Biscotti might be next to fall. They're going all the way to the base towers, but on the other side, they're doing the exact same thing on the Saints. Akashi's just going to be dashing through the smokes, slicing down the Diana. The Jinx Rocket's going to miss, I think, actually, but they are going to trade towers. The Saints, however, are probably going to be liking this trade quite a bit more as the Rift Herald sends his headlong right into the tower, and he's going to do it again. That's going to be a lot of value out of that Rift Herald. Excellently done by Maddie picking up that Rift Herald Udyr things. You know, it is what it is. The calculations, the game state knowledge you have to play this champion at an effective level. You just wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I just wouldn't understand. I think, well, but do we attribute that to Udyr or do we attribute that to just jungle in general? Because jungle...
You attribute it to Udyr.
Yeah, of course. It's only Udyr.
Let's strike a balance. You attribute it to Maddie.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, sure. Maddie, amazing player here coming into the jungle, picking up that Udyr and showing us how it's done here on the Rift on that Udyr.
I already knew how it's done.
Proving me wrong, right? Yeah, proving me wrong, Daniil. We can play into this narrative now. I hate Udyr, terrible champ. No, I'm kidding. But nonetheless, he's putting in the work. He's getting the objectives for the team. They grabbed the first dragon. Yeah, you traded the other one out, but they traded the other one out for tier 2 turret top lane. That is a great trade for themselves. Look at the top lane, look at the mid lane. No more structures really to work with. Now you can just send Ricky bot here as he can 1v1 this Diana. The tower dive to come through. Ricky Lafleur has so much health regen, so much lifesteal under his belt.
The taser dash.
Concerned.
He dodged that taser like it was nothing, and he's charging in. He wants the stun. He wants blood. Turning on the fire, turning up the heat. He sends it out. He is weaving and dashing through, looking for another stun. The fire is back on Akashi on the backline, taking out Volfins. He's not going to be there, but he gets it just in time. He was taking a lot of damage there, but he turns around the Mandarin. That's an ace for the Saints with Maddie so perfectly, so elegantly, so subtly wrapping it up with the Udyr, taking the ace for the Saints. And that was such a beautifully executed team fight. So many things all happening at once. Not everything could have been executed so perfectly, yet it was. They executed that excellently.
Daniil, there could be a chance we see not only, an Udyr victory here with the look at the game save right now, Saints being fairly ahead, right? You've got the kill lead, you've got the gold lead, you're now grabbing an objective lead for yourself as well, but we could be seeing a perfect KDA Udyr game here. That's going to be, I'm sure that'll feel good for yourself being a huge Udyr fan.
No.
Nice 2-0 on the board right now. 4-0 on Akashi's Akali right now. He's been putting in a lot of work, even in lane. He was trading with that Diana very efficiently within the Shroud there, just constantly resetting that Q, resetting his passive there for those enhanced autos, enhanced range on those autos, enhanced damage, all the good stuff that comes along with Akali. And now he gets to be late to mid-game Akali and just be an AP assassin in the fights, essentially.
It wasn't very well caught on the camera there, but that backline damage he was doing to the Jinx. Jinx really was fighting tooth and nail. Akashi's health bar went from really good to nothing very quickly, and he was able to wrap that up beautifully like a bow to seal the deal for the fight. Otherwise, we are not sure how that really could have turned out. In the meantime, though, just like you said, it must be pretty good watching Udyr winning a game, and I'm going to tell you, it actually does not feel that good. It feels normal. It feels normal watching Udyr win, but it does not feel normal to get charged underneath your tier 2 mid tower as Biscotti goes down underneath the tower, but Akashi turns around, taking up the Jinx. Now Sejuani goes down as well. Ozakura is the last one standing here in this fight, and he's gonna be quick to follow. That's a triple kill for Rockboom and an ace overall for the Saints. Another one so quickly after the first. Josh, what is happening?
Immediately as that ace pops off, Ricky's already been top lane. He's already got a wave pushed in to this base turret as well. The inhibitor is going to be taken down mid, and Ricky's looking to do that same thing top lane. We're still waiting on respawns from that bot lane. The jungle is back up now from the Mandarin, but we're not even 20 minutes yet. Saints, you saw them pinging the Baron there. They're pinging the first spawn, not some kind of respawn here. We've got 2 inhib down pre-20 minutes. Saints up 10k gold once again as we hit this 20-minute mark. That seems to kind of be the prime number for the Saints is once you hit 20 minutes, if they're 10k up, they're feeling good in this game. Somehow they find their way there every time. Maybe could be something to do with this, this 2-0 Udyr and this 6-0 Akali there, but you can't forget about all the work that is being put in by both the top laners and the ADC. Right now, Saints are just working full force, and it's being reflected all over the map.
Josh, I'm not gonna. You know the Twitch emote or the BTTV emote, whatever you want to call it. Aware that emote, whatever.
Possibly.
When you said this is not the first, or this is not the second Baron, this is not a third respawn Baron that they're pinging. This is the first Baron.
The first Baron.
That was actually my internal state, but the internal state of Sejuani on the top side, they're gonna be doing their best to fight. Ricky is taking 3 champions right now, and that's gonna be perfect space for Akashi to cut them down. The arrow just narrowly misses the Mandarin, flashes just to be safe. The Mandarin is going to be tanking 3 heroes, not as well as Ricky can, though. Falls to the pressure, crumbles down underneath the tower. 2 champions left for Old Dominion as they're chopping down the towers. All you can do is watch as your base crumbles before you, Josh. It is looking quite over.
How are you going to make it out of the fountain here? You just can't. The Saints built up way too much of a lead, almost an over 3k gold lead just from Akashi himself there in the mid lane. That was just... It was just Prime League of Legends. This play, once again, a slow start in that early game. We saw first blood and a double kill to be given over to Vulpins there on the Jinx. He also picked up a third one before even losing 1 death himself. However, that left him with a shutdown that left the shutdown on the map. And once again, that shutdown snowballed over into the rest of these lanes. We saw Rockboom start to pick up kills as the jungler came down. They got a little too greedy on the dive, and Ashe gets a Kraken Slayer, Ashe gets a Phantom Dancer, and Ashe starts slowing you and dealing a lot of damage, and it becomes pretty hard to run away from that Akali in the fight when 5 players are perma-slowed from the Ashe as well.
And it's just such a display of overwhelming force. And again, game state knowledge. I said, Udyr, he requires a lot of game state knowledge, but besides Udyr, the way that Saints played the map, the way Old Dominion, again, not to give them any less credit than they deserve, but the difference in how the Saints would capitalize off of kills, capitalize off of pressure, how they went from one spot to the next. If they were losing somewhere, they were making sure they were winning somewhere else every single time. On the ball at all points, Old Dominion falling just a little bit short of that goal, but the Saints obviously are no slouches, and this no small task to get a game over on them. So Old Dominion doing their best here. No shame in losing to the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, undefeated roster here in NACE. Going to continue that way. 3-0 for the Saints. Old Dominion going to find themselves 0-3 after that loss there here in week 3. But like you said, it was a big part of the Saints just capitalizing on every little minute detail. A dragon's being grabbed bot. Okay, we take tier 2 top. Oh, you're going to grab another dragon? Okay, we'll take Rift Herald this time.
It's the economy.
It's the economy. It's that macro plays, right? Just working the map to your advantage there. And it's kind of what happened in game 1 where Old Dominion had the advantage over towards the starting, but they weren't able to capitalize that into objectives, right? They were able to grab as many picks as they wanted, it felt like, but you just couldn't grab that map control and that map advantage over with the turrets, with the dragons, with those Rift Heralds. The Saints were able to grab them, and it kept the gold pretty even, right? Then we saw in game 2, Saints were pretty well just even until snowball.
One trend I'm noticing a lot against our opponents is the way they play the top side is very different. You only ever see, Alonzo, or in this case, Maddie, playing topside when it's to get the Rift Herald. But the opponent's teams, they're playing topside to get kills. They like to gank tank a lot. They gank top a lot. Ricky tanks a lot of those pressures that could be spent, putting pressure elsewhere on the map, or honestly just getting farm.
Maybe mid. One thing I noticed, a lot of teams, they almost shy away from mid, forget about mid.
There's good reason for it sometimes.
And I mean, yeah, there is good reason, right? You ganking in a Kali, is it going to work out if she's got Shroud up? Probably not. But you kind of got to gauge your ideas. We rarely see Scuttle fights happen from a lot of these mid laners now.
Yeah.
I mean, Scuttle, it's kind of fallen off in terms of how much value it really gives. It used to be that prime objective. Teams are fighting for Scuttle level 3, level 4. Yep. It's like Scuttle. Now it's like, okay, you get the Scuttle, you get some vision, really.
Not a lot of jungler interaction happening. And
at least in those early, I feel like it's always a gank rather than junglers finding themselves in a 1v1.
The junglers aren't really fighting each other. And I think that's something you might see at higher levels of play where junglers are kind of intercepting each other's plays. You don't really see a lot of that. Usually the opponent jungler will just pick up a free kill top, but there isn't a lot to gain from that. And the Saints, they gain a lot from the lack of pressure being put elsewhere. Or again, having your jungler just making sure they're getting farm, they're getting the gold, they're getting the experience can be a lot of value that is missing as well.
Yeah, so nonetheless, tonight, NACE Starleague Week 3, Saints ending 3-0, Old Dominion ending tonight 0-3. That's been League of Legends for us tonight. Daniil, thank you for joining me. We got to see an Udyr game for you as well. I know you're feeling good about that tonight. Yeah, it's been awesome to get on the cast. I know I was off for a few days there, but we're getting right back into the swing of things after March break here, and was awesome to get to show some NACE League action. But nonetheless, we are going to be closing out for the night. Shout out to everyone in the production room over there. Ryan, Matthias, Amanda, Alex, holding it down, getting our drafts through, using all of these new overlays, putting them to work here.
Production quality stepped up so much in the last couple of months.
100%
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it feels great to be on the desk here.
That's why I'm here.
Can't stress that enough. The desk, awesome.
Beautiful.
But nonetheless, that's been us tonight. Hope you guys had a great time watching this 2-0 League of Legends match here. We will see you next time.
Adios.